What's up, guys? We're back. It's time for round one with CJ, and today we've got a doozy. Today we're going to talk about Dave Chappelle, his latest stand-up special, and the more controversy that has come for him surrounding it. This is going to be a hot one, and I'm going to say right now that I'm going to do a follow-up to this round one and do a long-form conversation podcast on this issue because I think it deserves actually more than 3 minutes. This is a complex issue that I think we need to navigate, and I think it's a discussion that needs to be had. But without further ado, I'm going to try my best to break this down. My opinion of the special, just one man's opinion, and break down in about 3 minutes. And yeah, let's start that clock. So my opinion of the special, I gave it a 6 out of 10. I don't think it was Dave's best work in terms of just how funny it was, even though it did have some funny moments and jokes. But of course, the major backlash is he continued to make a lot of jokes on the trans community, on the LGBT community, trans community in general. And he's been deemed transphobic. But I don't think Dave Chappelle is transphobic. I think he tried to weave a really tight needle in this really complex issue through his special via art. And yes, he made some jokes that could be perceived as cheap and crude, but I think the overall message wasn't, to hate the gay community or the trans community. However, I think there is some toxicity that has been come out of this and some real harm from his fan base. I don't think that was intentional from Dave, but I think some people in his fan base missed the message and they're coming out, and it kind of bothers me because it reminds me of the weird energy I saw from Trump supporters when kind of like the racism that they felt. I guess he signed off on, where they had something deep rooted in their heart, but then they saw a public figure that they respect echo that same opinion, then they made it feel like that's okay and that's mainstream. So now it just kind of pours out, and they're like, yeah, I've been wanting to say it, but now I can say it because everyone's saying it, right? But it's that I don't think that was Dave's point. So I do think that is problematic and that's an issue. However, having said that, I think a lot of the people trying to quote unquote cancel Dave, even though I think that's a loaded term these days anyway, I think there are just jokes. And I think in terms of comedy, it's an art form, and Dave is an artist. He's a master artist, and he weaves a tight needle, as I said before. And I don't think it was as smooth as he could have done it. But at the same time, the people criticizing him and calling him transphobic and wanting the special canceled are missing the point. He verbalized the point in many different ways, but at the same time, the people accusing Dave of punching down, his argument is, how can you punch down on a community that it seems to be above us? Because that's the issue. He brought it back with the joke regarding the baby and how the baby could kill someone and not be canceled. But then he talks about LGBT community and gets canceled. It was another example that happened right afterwards with John Gruden. John Gruden had some racist comments surface. That wasn't enough to get him fired. Then some things with the LGBT community leak, and then he's fired in zero point 0.2 seconds. So these are the kind of points I think Dave is trying to illustrate on the media and society as a whole, that we as Black people continue to be punched down upon. And then there's some intersectionality that people are really missing, that there are Black gay people, there are Black trans people, and just Black people in general. We're still not getting the justice in our movement. So I think that was the overall point, and people are missing it on all sides. And everyone needs to be a little bit more tolerant, patient, listen, and just less offended also.